$2.70 around 9 a.m. Well, now $2.40 for this horse. Fourth up here. Look, it's coming out of the right form like races. Last two starts has been beaten by Colette 2 starts ago at this track. It was half a second inside standard time. It ran second. And then last start in the Empire Rose, where they completely obliterated the clock, 1.5 seconds inside standard time. It gets its chance. STEINEM market wants to be with it. Tricky Gal, $4.60 out to $4.80. Fourth up. Peak run last prep was fourth up in a Group 3 when it did run second. Did run second in this race, obviously, last year. Quantum Mechanics, your big hole in the market, $6 out to $7. You'll get bigger if you like her. And the only other horse that's really held its price is Agreeable. Rock solid at $13. Didn't have much luck last start, but STEINEM, one-way traffic in this race.
This mounting yard is brought to you by Sani. Moving tomorrow, today.
And Glenn Boss is in the house, and a few well wishes over the fence. He makes his way along the path into the mounting yard. He is about 80 minutes away from being in the saddle for the final time. He will ride Spanish Mission, the favourite in the Herald Sun Zipping Classic, in a couple of hours' time. First, it's the Beck Probuild Summon Stakes Group 3 over 1,600 metres as a result of it being here at Caulfield. Typically a 1,500 metre race when it's been at Sandown for the mares. The first of our group races for the afternoon. First runner into the yard is Quantum Mechanic. John Allen successful aboard Missile Mantra last year. Quantum Mechanic comes via the Cantala, but on her Toorak fourth here, she's got to be some chance.
Yeah, she was a very good run in the Toorak, I thought. Gee, that race, I know Thunderstruck came out and obviously went up over the interstate and won, but it took its toll on a few. But look, she was excellent there. And I think her better form, this is a nice race for her today. With a good run in transit, she can win.
And perhaps beneficial for the 4-week break between runs for Quantum Mechanic, Nick.
Yeah, possibly. She looks like she's been kept up to the mark nicely from the stable, as you would expect. Coat's good, but I have seen it look better in the past.
She was going to take her place in the Ballarat Cup last week, but drew wide. 2 is Paul's Regret, last start winner at Cranbourne.
Good performance. It was a heavy 10, but she handles any surface and generally can take a position in the run. So it's a stronger event, but she's clearly in very good form.
3 Belle Plaisir scratched. Tricky Gal, the 4, was second in this race last year, BZ.
She's a very consistent mare in this type of grade, and Matthew Smith has brought down a strong team. She's had 3 runs in New South Wales, her most recent being in a Group 2 contest where she was narrowly beaten there behind Electric Girl in the Hot Danish. She is a little bit of a stretch out to the 1,600 metres, even though her record says she goes quite well at it. I think she's better suited at 1,400 myself personally, but she's going to get a chance here with a nice map from that low draw.
She presents in terrific order, guys. Coat's gleaming. She's lovely and relaxed. So BZ saying that maybe there's a query on her. Just had a real solid mile, but I can tell you she's conserving every ounce of energy here pre-race.
Zing, kept in Melbourne by the Waller camp after running 5th behind Foxy Frida in the English bracelet.
Yeah, it's a third run of the preparation. This is her right distance range. 7 stars for a couple of wins in 3 seconds. She does need, I thought, to lift off the effort behind Foxy Frida at Flemington, and just not sure about on top of the ground either. It seems to be a little bit better with a bit of cushion.
6 is Brazen Song. Craig Williams successful in this race in 2011 and 2016. She looks our leader.
And the thing is, there's not much pressure. I'm just wondering if Brazen Song a bit of value. The more, sometimes you get close to the race and you're thinking, could get an uncontested lead here and might be able to dictate on her own terms. She's certainly in really, really good form. I think the mile's at the end of her stamina, but if she gets left alone, she could run a big race.
7, Good and Proper, has form around the right. Phillies, BZ, earlier in the campaign. A lot to like about her third in the Sale Cup as well.
Yeah, she wasn't far from Quantum Mechanic when they met back in February earlier this year, benchmark 78 level. They've both gone on to bigger and better things since then, but I thought a run at Sale was outstanding against the boys, Milton Park. That form line has been quite solid through the carnival, and I'm not sure why she hasn't had a run for the best part of a month, but she draws an inside gate here. I'm hoping she can just get on the back of the speed, maybe 2 or 3 pairs back, and she'll be hitting the line strongly.
8, Agreeable, having her run spaced by the Freedman camp, gets the services of Craig Newitt.
Well, Agreeable's really going well. I think it was a little bit luckless at Flemington. It's an awkward gate for her. I think there'll probably be err on the side of caution. Should be about midfield, but I think she's another one that's over the odds for mine.
9, Steinem, John McNeil, Kieran Murray and Dave Eustace looking to combine once again after the victory of Enthar in the Dufton. Steinem was second here behind Collette in the Tristarc and then a drift of her again in the Empire Rose.
Yeah, it was a great run in the Tristarc, and her Empire Rose run was fantastic as well. She just, a couple of genuine Group 1 mares ran home a bit better. Where does she end up map-wise? Well, look, she can win this race. She deserves to be favourite. Her last 2 runs have been excellent. Just thought it was a little bit tricky for her where she's drawn, but if she gets even breaks, she'll be hard to beat.
She looks ready to peak here today, guys. She's fit. She's got the right mindset on here in the mounting yard, not playing up at all pre-race, ready to rock and roll.
Second of the Freedman runners is the 11 Perfect World. Of course, the 10 Groovy Kind of Love is scratched.
$21. It's a much stiffer test for her today than what she struck last start, where she didn't have any luck. She should have won at Moonee Valley, but that was a benchmark 70. So, but I mentioned about the pace. I'm just thinking she gets on the back of the leader here, which, as we've sort of discussed, will be Brazen Song, and maybe that'll help her cause.
She got quite warm pre-race, guys. She was right up on her toes and just a bit fidgety for mine.
Silence Edition, Solicit, Politeness, Floria and Benicia amongst the winners in the 21st century of the Summon. Who adds their name here, Hutch?
Oh, the deserved favourite, Steinem, but I'm going to sort of bet around, just trying to get a little bit of value that I think is there with Good and Proper and Agreeable. I think Good and Proper's been racing really well without a great deal of luck, and Agreeable didn't have much of it last start, was a winner prior. Steinem, the knock is for me. I was willing to sort of bet around at the price with a Perfect World also a potential over.
I can clearly see why Steinem's going to be hard to beat, but her map is a little tricky. She's going to get a fair way back, and even though Good and Proper is going to get back as well, I was expecting her to be not a bad chance here from that gate at around $12 or $13. I'd be happy to have something on her, and maybe instead of backing her each way, I'm going to be on sort of Good and Proper the win, Steinem the win, and use Steinem as my each way component for Good and Proper rather than sort of having 2 separate bets there.
I thought Tricky Gal looked ready to peak here this afternoon, guys. She's got a good record over this trip. She's got a good 4th up record as well. Ollie in the saddle, and she just paraded. She ticked every box for mine. So she goes on top. I thought Steinem looked in really good order, and the other one had a bit of a price. And I heard Hutchie talk about this horse as well, is the 6 Brazen Song. As the boys said, maybe a little query at a real strong mile, but she couldn't have looked any better in the yard.
Steinem, pretty solid favourite here, $2.45. I think the SP is probably going to be closer to $2.60. So if you do like her, I think you're going to get a slightly better price come jump time. But she is solid enough in the market, 4th up, expected to run really well. Outside of her, Tricky Gal got to $5, back into that $4.80, which is a positive sign for this horse. Obviously, it did run second in this race last year. Quantum Mechanic we have spoke about. Look, the ceiling looked to have been about $7.50. It's been 6 out to 7. Don't think you're going to get much bigger than that. Brazen Song, 15 into 12, and that's probably been in the last 10 minutes. So this horse will roll forward. It's probably likely your leader. A positive push for it in the last 10 minutes. Agreeable, as we mentioned last time, $13 into $12. Can't push you into anything else from a market perspective. Steinem, your favourite, $2.45. Think you'll get slightly better come jump time.
Michael Kent Jr. joins us. Team have got Quantum Mechanic engaged here in the Summon. Michael, thanks for your time. It's been a nostalgic week here at Caulfield for yourself and Mick ahead of moving to familiar surrounds for you in Cranbourne. How's it been?
Yeah, especially for Mick Price. He's been here for a long time, and yeah, it's sad, isn't it? But that's progress, and we're very excited about Cranbourne. It's a magnificent stable, and yeah, as you say, it's my old home.
Quantum Mechanic, weight to carry and onto a firm surface. What do you make of her chances?
Yeah, she has got top weight, but actually at the weight scale, she gets very well in. She's a Group 2 winner, so there's a bit of mixed form here. There's some mares that are on the up. She's coming back from much better races. If she brings her 2-rack run, she would be winning. We're very happy with her. Bit of an afterthought because we're going to the Ballarat Cup, drew a poor gate. But I think the race works out well for us. Got a lovely barrier, and she's really well.
So she comes here 4 weeks between runs off that Cantala run, having missed the Ballarat Cup. What have you done with her this week in preparation?
She's just had a light week. She's very easy to train. Gorgeous mare, lovely temperament. She parades very well. I think from a trainer's point of view, we couldn't be happy with her. If she hits out on this firmish track, then she'll be right there. Where's
John Allen ideally have her position, particularly given what we've seen in the conditions so far?
The key to her is having her to travel. So we don't want to push her out of her comfort zone early. If they're going steady, then she'll be sort of second pair. If they're going quicker, she might be third pair. Hopefully one out with cover and blending in.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
There's the thoughts of Michael Kent Jr. around Quantum Mechanic, who was a little disappointing last time out, but her run 2 starts ago in the Group 1 2-rack was outstanding behind I'm Thunderstruck. That would set one of the benchmark performances of any of these mares in this contest. But the favourite, very firm, STEINEM, she's just got a habit of being slow into stride, hasn't she? She doesn't begin all that well, and that forces the rider's hand more often than not, that she's got to basically back near last and then has to try and get over the top. But the last time she was here at Caulfield, she was fantastic behind a very, very talented mare in Colette. And then even last time out at Flemington, she got a long way back and was only beaten 3 lengths by Colette in the Group 1 Empire Row. So the daughter of Frankel, 4-year-old mare who's only had 7 career starts, very lightly raced, but she burst onto the scene as a 3-year-old earlier this year. She started favourite, one of the key contenders in a Group 1 Australasian Oaks. She never measured up there, but she comes back for a 4th run of this preparation. And it seems as though they're keeping her to the shorter trips at this point. They haven't been keen to stretch her out, even though she is by Frankel. They've kept her largely to a mile this time in.
Yeah, and it's with a stable that you'd think they'd be happy to take her out when they need to, so they must feel that this is their limitation. But yeah, is she $2.50 now? I mean, if you, I wouldn't put anyone off if they like her. I mean, the query for me is I'd sort of want about $3 or more, just because of where she lands. But she might be able to overcome that and still win.
Moving into the gates, let's get to Matt Hill.
A really good crowd on the lawn now, and also on the members' lawn. Terrific to see. Moving in now, the Southern Perfect World, who had absolutely no luck in weaker grade last start, is in the stalls. Brazen Song is in, but she's a little bit edgy and wants to rear up in the machine, and immediately Craig Williams has dismounted her. She's fractious in the stalls, and attendant goes in. Good and Proper comes up for Daniel Moore, with Matthew Ellerton and Simon Zara having their last day as a training partnership today. Now STEINEM waits her turn. We've got some 6 to move in over there at the 1600. The attendants just working on relaxing Brazen Song at the moment. And are they going to back her out? They may even be doing that. Yep, they're backing out Brazen Song, number 6. Currently a $14 chance on the total. A little bit of support with bookmakers, 14 to 11. News is coming through. They're going to have to vet this horse, I'd say. Lovely, thank you. Courtney Pace on scales today. Brazen Song being vetted. 6 Brazen Song being vetted. Vet running the rule across the 6 after being fractious in the machine. She was one of the first in, and as soon as she went in, she started playing up. Now, in the meantime, Paul's Regret with Declan Bates goes in. Tricky Gal joins the line, the second favourite. There's Zing going in. Set up on the speed in a real saunter, the English Bracelet there last time on Oaks Day. Couldn't quite sprint with them late. Agreeable about to join them. It's been performing well in weaker grade. Quantum Mechanic comes along. Jockey of Brazen Song, Craig Williams, is back aboard, and he's about to place her back in. So Brazen Song has been past fit to start. So Brazen Song goes in, takes a middle alley. STEINEM about to join them, and Agreeable will complete the line. For the Beck Probuild Summon Stakes, tote favourite STEINEM firming at 230, 490 Tricky Gal. Here's Agreeable. Agreeable for Craig Newitt takes the outside, and the field is locked away at the 1600. Set for the summon, signal, and they're racing. Perfect World from barrier 1, one of the better ones away, with also Tricky Gal. Out wide, Paul's Regret wants a piece of the action. STEINEM's probing through, and also Brazen Song, almost 5 across the track. Behind those horses then Good and Proper, and also Quantum Mechanic. Towards the end, Zing back today, second last on the outside of Agreeable. On top of the hill at the 1150, it's Brazen Song in front from Paul's Regret. The favourite gets a lovely trail. STEINEM 2 lengths away third. 3/4 Tricky Gal, a length Quantum Mechanic. Further back is Perfect World, the rails, a length and a half Zing, Good and Proper, and last Agreeable. To the side of the track now, 900 metres to go. It's Brazen Song controlling it by a half length. Paul's Regret, who keeps the leader up to her work, about 2 lengths to STEINEM. Every possible chance outside of the second favourite, Tricky Gal. A length Quantum Mechanic, Perfect World. Then came towards the end Zing, Good and Proper second last, and Agreeable whipped them in. 600 to go. Brazen Song the leader. leader. By a long neck, Paul's Regret. Two further back as STEINEM, Tricky Gell. Then came Quantum Mechanic outside of Perfect World. Well back, Zing, Good and Proper and Agreeable. Up around the corner at the 400. Brazen Song given her head, followed by a neck away, Paul's Regret. Now STEINEM peels out of the slipstream. 3 wide, she tanks up. Quantum Mechanic stoked up wider. Tricky Gell needs a run badly. STEINEM took the front at the 200. Quantum Mechanic's going with her. STEINEM needs to find. Quantum Mechanic's just about got her. Quantum Mechanic just in front of STEINEM, who's fighting back. STEINEM and Quantum Mechanic, they hit it. STEINEM worries Quantum Mechanic out of it. Perfect World late for third, then Agreeable. Next, Good and Proper, Zing, Tricky Gell, Paul's Regret, and Brazen Song was last.
Tough performance from STEINEM, who was headed by Quantum Mechanic in the closing stages, but perhaps that 3 kilo gap in the weights works in favour of Kieran Mara, Dave Eustace and Jai McNeil, who win back-to-back races on Zipping Classic Day. They got it done in the previous with Enthar, and we're at the midpoint of the program, but Jai McNeil's steer there on STEINEM is going to be pretty hard to beat for Rider of the Day. He put her into an absolutely pristine position in running. Quantum Mechanic for John Allen presented off her back on straightening, but they were the class runners in the race. Perfect World getting home nicely for Anthony and Sam Friedman, and they lob in spots 3 and 4 with Agreeable finishing off wide for Craig Neal. But the story is STEINEM, again, a Group 3 winner, that all-important black type now on her page after she missed a couple of times in Adelaide as a 3-year-old filly. 9-1, 11-8 in the summoned.
A little hat tip to Jai McNeil. I'm not sure too many would have necessarily mapped her one out, one back, and when he got her in that position, you thought, well, the race is at her mercy now, and it was to a point. But Quantum Mechanic, I should say, with Froggy Newitt, had her back in the run, and also a lovely ride, and was just out fought late. But what a finish off the canvas for the winner, Zed, and she was terrific today.
Yeah, it was a great battle between two of the top mares in this event, and it was a brilliant ride from Jai McNeil. There wouldn't have been many people that would have mapped him one out, one back after sort of 200 metres coming up the hill here around the mile start. He put her in the race, and that was the difference. If he went back and continued to sort of just be negative in the early stages, she wouldn't have been able to pick up the ground. But that was a brilliant piece of horsemanship from Jai McNeil, and it's no surprise that he's picking up a lot of good rides because he is getting the wins on them as well.
Back-to-back wins for Kieran Mara and Dave Eustace in concert with Jai McNeil. They get it done here with STEINEM in the summon. Kieran, it's almost a similar first question to the conversation around Enthar before. After a couple of attempts as a 3-year-old filly, great for STEINEM to break through at black type level.
Yeah, it is super. Great for Darren Dance, and a lot of the owners are in the mother as well. Ty Noon races in Francis and Christine Cook's colours, so no, it's a great result. You know, she's a very valuable filly, mare, being by Frankel, and you know, out of a good family. So big relief. Great ride by Jai. I've given him a hard time about this horse. So you know, he showed a lot of initiative for when she jumped well. Normally she gets back, and he showed the initiative to go forward and put her in the race, and it's sort of how the track's been racing a little bit, and yeah, it was a super effort and great job by the team.
Was that something you had to discuss and map out on the fly pre-race to go, well, given the way it's playing today, that if she can jump to take a spot that's prominent?
Yeah, like Craig was probably always going to go forward and probably sit up, so you don't want to be too far off, especially a day like this when they've got a tailwind down the straight. So no, full credit to Jai. I thought his last ride was pretty spot on, and that one was pretty nice as well.
I'll let you go give him a high five. Congrats.
Cheers, thank you.
Back-to-back results for Kieran Mara and Dave Eustace. Back-to-back results for Jai McNeil, and this one was heavily supported, a bit like Enthar. And what about the cheer when she hit the front and roared back to get the prize? But she was a little bit slow in the stride, but then he sort of made sure he got her to begin, so he didn't let her just sort of flop out the back. He obviously had Kieran Mara's words ringing in his ears saying, don't get too far back here, we want to get you up on the speed.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because at that stage you could see Quantum Mechanic, Johnny Allen, was sort of a little bit neutral. He's probably happy at this stage, I'll get onto the back of one of the big chances. But yeah, that first 300 was key in the outcome of that race.
Jai McNeil joins us, a race-to-race double for the Mara Eustace team. Jai, well done. Was it a conversation with Kieran pre-race, or more so your own initiative to have STEINEM so far forward?
Well, obviously drawing a inside barrier. She began a little bit slow, but with the track playing how it was, I was a little more positive on her than usual. And after doing so, she actually really put herself into the race. I landed a bit closer than I actually thought I anticipated to pre-race, but it was beneficial because she was in the right position and lifted herself off the canvas to get the win today.
You've been with her entire career thus far, and that is a real breakthrough for her to grab a Group 3 win as a mare. What do you think the future holds? Is she going to continue to perhaps step back out and trip as we saw as a 3-year-old filly?
Yeah, well, as a 3-year-old filly, it was towards the end of her prep when she did get out over the Oaks distance, but the more I've sort of had to do with her this prep, the more I get the feel that maybe she might be able to step out and trip again with a little bit more maturity. But we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the prep unfolds. But she's giving me the feel that she could potentially get over more ground now.
Been a good hour. Bravo.
Thank you.
Race 5 at Morphettville is the 6th heat of the Alco Pop Series. It's over 1,600 metres, and there's not a lot between the top two in betting.